In the news this week, the BBC is slammed for its unquestioning promotion of transsexual ideology. Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn wants an LGBT focus in schools. And TV historian Tom Holland said he had completely the wrong idea about Christianity. Hello. A columnist for The Times has complained to the BBC after the broadcaster promoted radical gender ideology in the lives of children. Janice Turner gave a scathing review of a BBC Radio 4 interview with a 10-year-old girl whose parents used the internet to help her decide she is neither male nor female.
We're going with he, and Leo's chosen a male name, Leo, because he's definitely more boy than girl. But he's not, like a lot of transgender people, a male mind who happened to be born in a female body. He's a non-binary mind who happened to be born in a female body.
I do correct people when people use the word boy and she.
What do you say to them?
I just say, I'm sorry, I'm not a boy or a girl.
Turner blasted the presenter for failing to challenge the child's mother on how her actions might impact her daughter's mental and physical health. And she criticised the BBC for using its influential position to promote the ideology. The BBC is allowing to enter the mainstream unquestioned a pernicious ideology that demands parents patrol their children for gender crimes, boys who like dolls, girls who climb trees, and then seek a label and treatment. Deputy Director of the Christian Institute, Simon Calvert, said the BBC had violated its responsibility for fair and balanced reporting.
So of course it's true that some children do experience confused feelings when they're young, but the vast majority of them pass through that stage naturally. So saying to children that it's normal to transition to become a member of the opposite sex or to describe yourself as gender neutral risks profoundly confusing those children at a very vulnerable stage of their lives. It's quite wrong. The BBC is a publicly funded broadcaster. It has a legal obligation to be impartial in its reporting of controversial issues. This is a controversial issue, but the BBC is failing miserably in its task because its news reports on TV, on radio, online, they're campaign pieces for the transgender movement.
For further information on transsexualism and gender ideology, download the new briefing from our website, christian.org.uk. A teenager in Belgium has become the world's first child to be legally euthanized in what has been called a truly shocking case. The 17-year-old was deemed to be terminally ill and in the final stages of life. Belgium removed all age restrictions for euthanasia in 2014. Alistair Thompson of the UK campaign group Care Not Killing said doctors are meant to protect patients and warned that any legalisation of euthanasia quickly results in a slippery slope. The moment you say they can, in certain circumstances, kill their patients, it is always going to be debatable about exactly how old or mentally competent they must be. Last year, the assisted dying bill was rejected by MPs in the House of Commons by 330 votes to 118. Serious concerns were raised that legalising assisted suicide would pressure vulnerable people into ending their lives over fear of being a burden. LGBT rights must be taught in schools, according to the leader of the Labour Party. Jeremy Corbyn made the comments in a manifesto on equality and diversity, which backs compulsory sex and relationship education. It also calls for police to speak to pupils about homophobic and transphobic crimes, a demand made by homosexual lobby group Stonewall. The manifesto did not specify whether the sex education policy would cover primary as well as secondary schools, but said the teaching should include a focus on tackling homophobia. It is also unclear whether Mr Corbyn would keep the parental right of withdrawal. Currently, primary schools are not required to teach sex education, but local authority maintains secondary schools must do so. The Department for Education has said that it expects the same from secondary academies, including free schools. And finally, award-winning TV and radio historian Tom Holland says he was wrong about Christianity. Having turned his back on Christianity as a child, Holland has now realised that his false ideas about God had been cultivated by Enlightenment writers, such as Voltaire. He now sees Christianity as a revolutionary idea which changed the world. In his article for The New Statesman, Holland wrote that the crucified Christ could not have run more counter to the beliefs of the Jews, Greeks or Romans. In the ancient world, it was the role of gods who laid claim to ruling the universe to uphold its order by inflicting punishment, not to suffer it themselves. Holland concluded that countries once part of Christendom continue to bear the stamp of the 2 millennia-old revolution that Christianity represents. Well, that's all for this week. For regular updates and information on all of our stories plus much more, visit our website at christian.org.uk. Until next time, goodbye.